Hello everyone, this is Hoda Ganji. In the last video we talked about concrete columns. In this video I'm going to talk about a shear wall. Usually in high-rise buildings we also have a shear wall for lateral forces such as wind and earthquake. So I want to have a shear wall going from foundation to the roof. I know we haven't talked about the space layout here because in this video I only focus on structural elements and how we model them in Revit. So I assume we're going to have one shear wall here. You can assume we have two of them. So I'll go with wall is going to be a structural wall, and actually it's going to be a concrete wall, and we'll add rebars later. So I want to go with maybe generic 200 or 300. I'll go with one of these, and it's something that you can talk about with your structural engineer about how big it is and how much rebar it's going to need. So I'm going to put it here. This is my shear wall. It's going to be continuous going from here, going from level foundation to the roof level actually. So now you see on that side of the building, in addition to the columns, we have shear walls for lateral forces. Next, I want to create some foundation. So let's go to the foundation level. I want to go with structure, and it's going to be isolated. I want to load a concrete foundation by going to the structural foundations folder, and it's going to be rectangular footing. I would like to go with add columns, so it's going to automatically place it wherever we have the columns. You can select everything, finish, and we can check view range to make them visible. Type VR for view range, and because this is the lowest level, we can set this to unlimited for bottom and view depth, so we can see the foundation. Over here for this shear wall, I'm going to add a wall foundation by clicking here. So if I go to 3D, you can see that on this side we have the foundation and the shear wall. Now I want to only select these few elements here, and I want to isolate elements so I can work with the rebars for this shear wall, right? So when you want to set the rebars for reinforced concrete, it's under here, under structure. First, it's better to assign cover, because then the rebars are going to be automatically placed inside the cover, so you have enough amount of thickness. If I go to cover, click cover, it asks me to select the element or the face. So if I actually go here, select this face or the element, I can assign cover to either element or the face. I want to go with element here, but if you need to assign different amount of cover for each side, you can go with the pick faces. I want to select this element, and you see by default is 25 millimeter the cover. If you want to change that value, you can go to edit cover settings, and I want to add some value here. So this is a number that you need to check the building codes. You need to refer to them, and it's based on like fire resistance and so on. So let's assume it's going to be 40 millimeters. I'm going to go with 40. Okay. And now if I click here, I can assign that 40 millimeters value. Okay, now it seems that nothing happened. If you can hit escape, but when we go and set rebars, they're gonna be 40 millimeters inside. So now let's set the rebars themselves. We can go to rebar. It's telling me that there are no rebar elements or shape definitions uploaded. I can go to rebar family. It's under structure, rebar, shapes, and I want to actually select all these items so I can work with them for different elements later. So I want to hit Control A instead of importing them one by one. I want to hit Control A import all of them. So open, it's going to take a couple seconds, but then you have all the shapes available at once. So now here comes the interesting part. So if I want to work on rebar for this wall, which is a shear wall, I can go with aligned or other options. I prefer aligned here because we have a straightforward shape here. So I'll go with aligned. Okay. And now it's asking me to select the host surface. Let's do it for one side first. So I'm gonna click on this surface. You can of course go with more than one surface at a time, but I'll go with one and I'll mirror that later. And we're gonna need two paths. One path is gonna be for the vertical rebars, one for the horizontal. I'm gonna go to path. If I click on this line for the shorter edge, it's gonna actually create the vertical rebar. So I'm gonna click here once and we are good. I'm gonna finish it. Oh, actually, I also want to change the number. You see now we have only one rebar here on the vertical edge. I want to change it to maximum spacing. Let's say it's going to be like every 400 millimeters or so. And this is something that you need to check with the structural engineer. Okay. It's actually, it didn't work with the number, so I'm going to select it here and then it's going to allow you to edit it. I'll go to maximum spacing from here and I will assign 400 here. Now we have enough rebars. But you see, you just see them as 2D elements. So what we need to do next is to select the rebars and work with the parameters here. One of the interesting things here is under visibility states, you can hit edit under properties and you can check the box for view as solid, so you're going to see the thickness of them. And notice that it's always good to work with fine level of details when it comes to rebars and steel elements and basically structural elements. There are a couple more things we need to do. For instance, I want to select this and I want to assign some constraints. So it's gonna not go all the way to the top. I'll go with assign constraints. I want to click here and how about I assign negative 0.3, so it's going to be 30 centimeters inside. And on that side, I can also assign negative 0.3. And I want to click on this one. It's going to move this inside from the other side. So how about I click here and assign negative 0.3. So now it's going to finish here. So it's good at the top. At the bottom is a different story. At the bottom, I actually want them to be continuous into this foundation. So I want to click here on this positive sign and assign 0.3, positive 0.3. And we'll check that value. I need to draw a section to see it. And don't hit escape. That's an important point. Just hit finish from here. Otherwise, it's not going to do the changes. Now, how about I select this and show you one more interesting thing. And at the bottom here, right, we actually need this to bend and go into the foundation. So let's also check the top. At the top, we also need to have kind of a bend at the end. So if I scroll up, you see under structure rebar, see under hook at the start is known. I can select rebar hook 90 degrees, so they're gonna rotate. Or if you go with standard, it's gonna be a little bit longer. If you go with 180 degrees, it's gonna be rotated like this. I wanna go with 90 degrees here, standard. For the bottom, I'll do something else. I want to bend it the other way around. So it's going to be exactly in the foundation. Sorry, that was for the top. And for the bottom is here, hook at the end. This value should be 180 or actually standard negative. So for the bottom, I want to adjust it to standard again, but the value needs to be 180 for the degrees. So it's going to be like this. Right now, it's a good idea here for me to draw a couple of sections to show you how it's going to work in the section. So let's go to one of the levels. We have a section here. I'm gonna move it here for now, and we're gonna only maybe focus on this part. So I can double click here to go to the section view. Now you see that we have the rebar here. We need to check this to be fine. We need to move this down, and now you see this is the rebar. And this dashed line here shows the cover. I already assigned a value to the cover. You remember we need to later also assign a value to the cover for the foundation, which might be different than the value for the cover for the shear wall. So this is what we have so far. This is the top, that is the bottom. It looks good. Now I want to do a couple of things. First, I want to mirror this on the other side. So we can go with like mirror pick axis. I want to pick this axis, and now we have it on the other side too. I can check the bottom and the top to see if the constraints are okay. It used the same constraint, that's okay. If I go to 3D, you see all the rebars, and then we're gonna need some rebars on the other side too. So I can go to rebar again, and I wanna go with aligned again. I want to select the same surface, and this time the path is gonna be this edge. I select the vertical path, and it's gonna create it horizontally. So click here. How about I go to maximum spacing, and I can adjust it to like every 500 millimeters max, and check the box, and we are good here. Now you see that these are also again just lines. If you want to show the thickness, you need to go to the properties, graphics again, check the box for solid. And all the things that we did in the other one we need to do here too. For instance, I want to select this, go to edit constraints. For the top, maybe I will assign the same values, negative 0.3 here, negative 0.3, so it's gonna be good. Actually, on this side, I can move this a little bit lower and a little bit inside, right? So how about I go back here and go to edit constraint, and to this value I can assign like negative 35. That was 34. I meant to assign 35. We can actually put the two views side by side here, WT. And I need to move this inside too. I'll do it in a second. So let me select this. That side is good. Edit constraint. The other side, I want to assign negative 0.3. So that is good too. At the bottom, here on this other view, actually, I want to move them a little bit inside, so it's gonna not have any overlaps with the other set of rebars. So for that, we need to go to this view, select them, go to edit constraints from here, and you can actually here at the middle of it, there is one constraint here which allows you to move this inside. For instance, if I assign negative 1 centimeter, it's going to move it by 1 centimeter, and this also depends on the size of the rebar. Let me assign negative 0.015, and maybe your rebars are different size. So for now, you see this one is like, I guess 10. I can go with 16 or something, and maybe we can leave those other ones as 10. I can go back to edit constraint. If I change that to 16, this needs to be the same thing. And this is something you need to ask your structural engineer regarding the size of the rebar. I can go to edit constraint. Maybe I can add 1 millimeter here, so it's gonna be exactly inside. And also maybe you need to move this one inside rather than this one. That again depends on what they advise you. Actually, that seems better in this case because it's going to be easier to put this on around the vertical bar, so maybe I should have done it the other way around. And when you are ready with this, you can also go to the top and the bottom and actually work with the shape and with the edges. So I can go here, I can go to like start and change the hook at start to like 90 degrees. I guess the start is the other side here, yeah. Or I can go with standard 90 degrees. And I can do the same for the end. It's gonna be 90 degrees over there as well. So this seems good. And finally, I want to go here. I want to select this set of rebars that we have, and I want to mirror them. So it's going to be on the two sides of the wall. It's going to follow with the same constraints on the other side, so that should be good. Now you see in this section it's working fine. At the top it's working fine. We can work with this a little bit so it's gonna not overlap. So how about I select one of these, go here, go to edit constraint, and to this top value for one of these I want to increase this number, so it's gonna be a little bit maybe smaller, so it's not gonna overlap with the other one. That seems good. Or you can go with a different value. Or maybe you just want to show it schematically, so you don't want to be that much precise, but basically this is how you do it. You can also see it in the other section. I can go back to my TW to see only one view, maybe go to foundation. I want to move this here, and if I go to my view, to my section 2, you see that we see the whole rebars here. I need to move the crop region a little bit down, and this is how we see it over there. So how about I put the views side by side so you can have a good idea of how the rebar works with the concrete. For this other side, I can also change the view to solid. You might need to do this for the mirrored items. They are not set to solid automatically when you mirror them, so I'm gonna change it to solid. So this is how it's gonna look like here for the reinforced concrete, and we need to do some rebarring here as well on the two sides of the foundation. Actually, I want to change the constraints here. I want to set this to 0 and move the other one inside because that would make more sense. I will delete this and I will actually mirror these ones again. And for the constraint here, I will assign the negative value to this one instead. So it's going to be negative, like 0.02 maybe. That is too much. Let's go with 0.016 or 0.12. This seems better. Finish. Now I just need to delete this and mirror this rebar and this rebar on the other side. That's better now because then they put this and then these horizontal ones are gonna be around them. I might need to also take care of the constraint on this one on this side, so they actually work a little bit better on this corner. First, let me change this to solid. Change that one to solid. And I'll go here. Make sure that your sections are set to fine level of details. And I want to check the constraint a little bit over here, so it's actually gonna be wrapped around this. So I'll go to edit constraint, and I can go here, or maybe it's easier to do it in 3D. How about I go with TW, so it's gonna maximize the view, edit constraint. I'm gonna click here. We had assigned negative 0.3. I want to assign negative 0.28. I can check it in my section 2, or actually my section 1. Let's go with WT. So that's the corner, and here you see it's working better. Yeah, this seems about right. On the other side, I might also need to increase this value a little bit. So I'm gonna select this rebar again, go to edit constraint, and for this side, we assigned negative 0.3. It's gonna be negative 0.28. Finish, and now there is no conflict on this corner either. Let me show you something here. So this is the wall. If I lower the height or change the height of the wall, you see the elements that I created from scratch update automatically, but the elements that I used mirror for them, they don't update. So that's the difference between how the mirror works and how you can make it more parametric if you start from scratch.